There's never going to be a Drew Brees. There's never going to be a Tom Brady. Never going to be even a Peyton Manning or maybe even a Carson Palmer. Those guys are unicorns. Okay, guys, it's kind of the eternal question of football. How many good quarterbacks are there?
It feels like it's a high watermark, but I can't tell whether that's because we're all just so in love with this rookie class and maybe a couple of guys from last year or a couple of guys from 3 years ago. And we're just so enamored with the younger quarterbacks and watching them develop, even though they haven't really done anything yet, that it feels like everybody's got somebody locked into the position. I don't know whether it's good quarterbacks as much as the quarterback question seems to be temporarily settled at almost every team.
Every team seems to have at least a plan. At quarterback. And it's like, you can actually see that plan working out. It's not just like a pipe dream, right? And so...
Not for everybody. Not for everybody.
My thought is, if there are 25, 30 good quarterbacks, are there any good quarterbacks?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And I think that it's easier than ever. And I just got off a camp tour and every offensive coordinator was saying this. It's easier than ever to play quarterback. RPO completion percentage is like 68%. You can go over the middle of the field now in a way you couldn't 10, 15 years ago.
The rules protect it.
The rules have changed so much. The helmet rule, even though the middle of the field was so open already, the helmet rule has made it to where every safety and linebacker will be even slower this year because they're worried about putting their helmet in. And so if you maybe have a little less talent, you're going to succeed in a way that maybe you wouldn't 10, 20 years ago, certainly. And that's what I think is the biggest difference.
Here's the counter. But while we have had this sort of rise in quarterback play, aren't we kind of seeing a drop-off in offensive line play?
Oh, yeah. But and the reaction to that is just quick throws, which, again, are easier to make.
Right.
Here's the thing. So, Kevin, you've written a couple of things about this. Completion percentage is up, but the length that people are throwing the ball, like air yards, are way down, and the time at which quarterbacks are holding the ball is way down. So it's way quicker, way shorter. And I think the interesting thing about the quarterback discussion is last year, actually, there was less scoring. The scoring for the first time dropped off. Passing dropped off. Like the numbers just actually went down.
The way that it was phrased, I remember ESPN wrote an article, the quarterback boom is over. And I think that if you look at the 6 years from 2011 to 2017, we will never see a rise like that again. Having said that, I think in 2018 it's going to go up again.
I do too.
Because of the rules, because of the new quarterbacks. I think that we're going to see a huge uptick in offensive numbers this year. It's going to be great.
So are we at a point like, the four quarterbacks in the conference championship? Tom Brady, who has a team-friendly contract because his wife is a millionaire, borderline billionaire supermodel.
Yeah.
And then Case Keenum, Nick Foles, and Blake Bortles. So if it's easier than ever to either acquire or manufacture a competent quarterback, are we heading toward a point where paying your quarterback an insanely large portion of your cap is actually a way to hamstring your team's future?
So there's two separate things. Is it going to be worth it to pay those guys? And are teams actually going to not pay them? Because those are very different things. I think the big test case is Washington. They get rid of Kirk Cousins because they don't want to give him a 3-year all-guaranteed contract, okay? And if there is any justification for it, it's that we don't want to pay those mega salaries. Well, guess what they did? They traded a high pick and Kendall Fuller for Alex Smith and then gave him as much money basically as Cousins. And I was there a couple days ago and I asked around and I said, guys, what the hell was that? And they go, we just wanted security. We want security around here. Well, I'm sorry, but this is not a comfort game. This is not this. You have to take risks in this sport, and signing Alex Smith to a mega deal, getting rid of a really good cornerback and a high pick, eschewing Kirk Cousins, who you could have just gotten without giving up those picks and just basically allotting that money to him. That's the kind of decision you have to make. And so no team is going to be the team that says we are not paying our quarterback and we're not going to have an answer. That is the biggest thing.
That's how people get fired.
That's how people get fired. And until that stigma goes away, there are 32 very scared people running NFL teams.
A growing trend around the league is trying to get good rookies and then cycling them out before you have to pay them, basically at every other position. But at quarterback, NFL teams, like you're saying, they just look at it in the exact sort of opposite way, rather than being we've got Carson Wentz, he's great. But now his rookie deal's up. Let's bring in another rookie
Right.
and just keep building the rest of the team around him. And
Yeah.
looking at the fact that we won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, as a guideline to building the team.
And you can look at it like the Kansas City Chiefs did, which is they took a rookie quarterback while they still had a veteran under control. They see him in practice. They see him in some preseason games, a little bit of regular season action. They say, you know what? We feel comfortable with this. That's worth saving $14 million, $15 million in the salary cap. And I think that's important. When you look at A, the cap savings, B, getting a cornerback who's really good from Washington, I mean, that's a hell of a move for them. And I think teams are going to start to see that more and more. If Kansas City has success, that's a good laboratory in which teams can view that. I know this is a little bit weird, but I sort of view quarterback play almost as the music industry now. Like, the whole thing about how it's really easy to play the House of Blues, but impossible to play stadiums, right? Like, if you come along right now and you're a huge musician, you're not going to sell out the Meadowlands. Like, it's just not going to happen. But you can sell out the 5,000-seat arena.
Sure.
And that's sort of how I view quarterback play. There's never going to be a Drew Brees. There's never going to be a Tom Brady. Never going to be even a Peyton Manning or maybe even a Carson Palmer. Those guys are unicorns. Aaron Rodgers, unicorns. They came along in the exact right generation.
Why? Because their ability to read stuff pre-snap or what?
No. So the biggest thing is that they got the NFL practice rules before the CBA.
That's interesting.
They are the last generation that will have almost a 10,000-hour theory type of education in football.
I see.
And all the new generation did, all they did was throw almost unsupervised.
Right.
They will never get 2-a-days in training camp. They will never get unlimited practice time during the regular season, unlimited padded practices. You can only practice 14 times in pads in the entire regular season.
Do you think the college games sort of like slow takeover of the NFL? Wouldn't it be kind of funny if it wasn't because the schemes are necessarily so brilliant? It's just because, like college,
Yes.
you have to install the simplest thing.
Yes, but that's very real.
Yeah.
That's very, very
It's
real.
interesting.
But so is there, like, from a schematic perspective, Danny, you've written about this with Rodgers before, like the Packers offense, or at least it used to be, sort of predicated on these like extremely fine margins that like only Aaron Rodgers could exploit. So like, is an offense like that at its peak better than like an RPO offense? Because that seems like the defining question of like what the value of a quarterback is going forward, right?
I mean, it kind of depends. Obviously, I think the one advantage of something like that, where it's precision and timing based, it's like that Bill Walsh thing where guys are coming out of their break at the exact instant that guy's like hitting his back foot. It's all very, very, very precise.
Yeah.
I guess you could, in theory, do more down the field with that. But with some of the things that they do now, like play action and the backfield motion and all that, you can still manufacture explosive plays. So I think it's just a question of like what coaches feel comfortable with and what coaches really believe in. There's still a lot of old school coaches in the league who want to do the 5 and 7-step drops, throw the ball when you hit your back foot, and it's all very, very, just precision, timing, everything based. You have the quarterbacks who can do that. But I mean, like Kevin was saying, when you don't have the time to prepare for all that, like you can't get the actual reps to
And you
get
literally
that
don't
precision.
have the time at the line to go through your progressions.
That's
like
the other
that.
thing is it's harder and harder to do 7-step drops these
Yeah.
days because you got guys breaking through in the middle.
Has the decline in offensive line play and the rise in defensive play actually forced NFL offenses to be smarter, basically?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason they get rid of the ball in 2 seconds instead
Yeah.
of 2.5 seconds. What I think is interesting, the Jalen Ramsey interview was just the gift that keeps on giving in GQ, and he said a million things, but one of the most interesting things to me, and it had sort of been echoed around the time of the game, was about Jimmy Garoppolo. And he said, you know what, when Garoppolo beat us, he didn't really beat us.
He was
It
throwing
the
fullbacks in the
scheme.
flat.
It was the scheme
Yeah.
that beat us. And that, I think, will be the defining sort of characteristic in the next 5 years is it's not the player, it is the scheme. And that's what I think is so interesting about this era of football.